Hello.
Hello.
Hey, everyone.
Hello, Virginia. It's Steve.
I see. Don't see you.
I can't get my camera on the net. I don't know what's happening.
Richard's iPhone, is that you? Are you my Rich?
It's Rick Dovey, yes.
Okay, you're not my Rich. The deputy manager is Richard. I wasn't sure if that was him or not, so you're not my Rich.
Okay. So I'm driving, so I'm going to participate by
Is everybody muted here?
I'm not. Can you hear me?
I'm
I
not.
can't hear anyone.
Okay, yeah, we're mute. We're not muted.
I just had to put my mute on because my darn fax machine came blasting through.
Can anybody hear me speaking?
I can
Yes.
hear you now.
I cannot hear any of you.
I just signed in with the
Everyone
audio.
looks
Can you
like
hear me?
everyone's muted.
Try going to your settings and looking at your audio output.
Okay.
Yeah, she can't hear us. Hazel, yeah, we can hear you.
Anybody?
Oh, thank you. I have so much trouble, and the other way is
Computer.
That's right, you can't hear us.
computers,
They put it in
and
the
it
chat.
doesn't
I
have
must
to
have
work on the phone.
muted it. He was on the phone. Sorry about that. Who's Richard's iPhone?
It's Rick Dovey.
Hey, how you doing? Rick?
I'm
Okay.
driving, so.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I wanted to keep the meeting short tonight because there's another meeting going on, starting at 6:30 that I'd like to get to, but I told them I'd be there late. So anyway, I wanted to welcome Virginia Reddig from Forsyth Wildlife Refuge, and she emailed me and wanted to work with us on some projects or some kind of outreach from the Forsyth Refuge. So why don't you introduce yourself?
Great. Thanks, Nanette. Good to meet you. Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm not going to take up much time at all. I just wanted to say hello. Of course, I know Steve. I don't know the rest of you, so I'm sorry about that. But, you know, we're working at the Refuge. Of course, hope you all know that we're over in Galloway, but we go all the way up. We go all the way up to Brick Township, actually. But we're really working to improve our community engagement. You know, not so much trying to do tons of school group activities, but more about really engaging and understanding as a first step to what our community's, you know, challenges are around connecting with nature. What can the refuge do? And certainly our research, you know, in terms of kind of based on the transportation piece of access, identified, you know, the three communities in Atlantic County that were probably good fits for us to work on is Atlantic City, Pleasantville, and Egg Harbor City. And I will be honest with you, I don't know anything about Egg Harbor City. I apologize about that, but I want to learn. And so Steve Fiedler, certainly we've crossed paths on multiple issues, and just really wanted to start to understand and maybe come to these meetings to understand and get an understanding of what your priorities are, and then where we maybe could support that going forward. And I will say, as it happens, just I saw your agenda, but Friday morning I'm going over to Atlantic City to help plant a tree, and it's just exposure, it just kind of gets the patch, and our faces out there to show people that we're present and that we're looking for engagement. So that's kind of our angle right now. And it isn't just about, like I say, people right away often go right to school groups, environmental education. I don't have a capacity to do that. I don't have enough staff to really start bringing in hundreds of kids and do all that. So it's really more like, kind of sharing our resources and building, kind of building up on each other about what we might do together. So first step for me is to listen and learn and to kind of see what your priorities are.
Okay. Well, right now we have several grants, projects going that mostly revolve around trees, planting trees. And first up is the Arbor Day Program. And we're doing a tree planting program in the fall. So there are major things right now, but through the Sustainable Jersey website, we have a lot of actions that we want to work on or that we're in the process of working on to get those points. We were just recertified in November. And, I vowed last time to keep up our application for certification so that it didn't pile up on us all at the end. But so far this year, I haven't updated one. So, I mean, it's a promise I made to myself, but I'm not living up to that promise at this point. Personally, I get very busy in the summer, so we kind of lay off having meetings during the summer, but we pick up again in the fall. So this could be our last meeting. We might have another one in June, or in May rather, but see, I'm a month ahead. I'm thinking June already. If you attend our meetings, you'll find out what we're working on. We have a major project that we're going to be working on with Mike Sheridan. He's on the line here. And that is, I don't know if you remember reading about the development that they wanted to put in at Egg Harbor City Lake. And the community kind of rallied against it, and they formed this Friends of Egg Harbor City Lake.
Super.
And as a result of that, the project was rejected by the city council in that location. And we have a group of citizens now that want to go to the lake. It's 400 acres out there, and it's pristine, but it's trashed. So Mike is going to, he's going to lead an effort to clean up trails, mark trails. You might be able to help with that on some, signage and things like that. Give him some pointers on, because I know you have a loop right around the refuge that you drive.
Yeah, we have all kinds of hiking trails and all that, and
Right.
we'd certainly be happy to assist.
That'll be a nice project that probably we can get your assistance with. I think.
Super.
All right. And if you're interested, you're welcome to come to the Arbor Day event. If you want to set up a table and share information about the refuge, you're certainly welcome to come.
Probably can't swing that, given the notice, but that's fine. I think that's great. And I think that's something we can definitely look to do in the future.
Good. So do you do any kind of group tours and things like that?
We do, absolutely. And it's just really just a matter of setting things up. And, I am looking to do more of those kind of things with our targeted audiences, our targeted communities. And so yours would be one of them that we would want to try to, increase
Do you have
awareness about.
transportation, a bus or anything like that?
What we do is we do not have a vehicle right now, but what we do is just as an awareness on Saturdays, we have free tours that we give of the refuge. It's kind of been slowed down, obviously, because of COVID, but sort of this next 6 weeks, they're going to be doing them, and they do them Saturdays. I believe the start time now is 11, and people can call ahead, but it's a first come, first serve. But that Friends of Forsyth is actually paying for that jitney. Just to get people out there. So if you were looking at something specific, as sort of an immersion thing or something we wanted to do, we could talk about arranging that.
Okay, cool, because we also have a garden club that might be interested in coming out there. I mean, they're adults, they can drive, but if we do something with younger folks,
Right.
we
Yep.
might need transportation, so.
Yeah. And the other thing too that we can offer, and certainly happy to reveal more of this as time goes on, but we also work with our U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service office in well, they're in Galloway as well now, but they do habitat work. So they actually do like look at sites and say, how can we improve this for wildlife? And that may or may not feed into your park project. Your
I think it
park
will,
project
yeah.
might be fine and it just needs to be cleaned up. I don't know. But the other thing we're trying to do too is, we're not trying to fill every niche, but we're also looking, there's a lot of interest right now among federal agencies and some state to do more kind of urban agriculture, which we also, we pull in the wildlife piece with that as well. And there's just more and more interest and opportunities with that. So for instance, in Atlantic City, we're going to take a look at what's out there and see, well, what are some options? So just kind of food for thought. Maybe there's some options down the road too for, your community if there's interest in that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And I know there's already some people doing awesome things around that. So we're not looking to replace, we're looking more to just kind of supplement and keep, filling gaps.
Well, I think some of the trails around the lake were degraded by ATV riders.
Right.
And Mike was talking about replanting some native species that were lost.
Perfect. Yeah,
So-
that's perfect. And so if you wanted to, Mike, we could bring Mark Virgilio, who's our Fish and Wildlife Service expert who does that kind of work. We can bring him out and take a look sometime, no rush for sure, but we could do a field trip and just poke around and check it out.
That'd be great. Yeah, we're focusing kind of on the south side, just like a 1/4 of the 400 acres. And there's two main areas. One is like right off the main trail where they made like cuts to go around like water holes, basically. So we're bringing out Ryan from the Pinelands Preservation Alliance on the cleanup day to take a look at that. I think that part would be a good site to maybe put up some split rail fencing and then replant some plants in that area just to like deter the vehicles once again from
Exactly.
using it. And then there's another area that's like kind of like dunes, where they just go up and down the dunes and rip it up. And that's the second area we try to like somehow block off and replant.
All
So,
right. Well, we'll
that'd
be
be great.
happy to help. Let us know. Yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
Thanks.
Good connection here. That's great. All right. Did you have anything else, Virginia?
No, really just here to say hello and listen in, and we'll just go from here and see where we go. And I also do want to mention Rich Elbers did pop on. He's the deputy manager at the Refuge. He actually runs the operations more than I do, but he'd certainly join if we came out and looked at the site. So
Okay, cool. Well, we're going to be out there cleaning up on May 4th.
Okay.
that's our-
7th, actually.
What is it?
The 7th.
It's the 7th?
Yeah, not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
It's the 7th. I put
Yeah,
the
that's
4th. in
first
that.
Saturday in that.
Let me change that right now because I put the 4th, May 7th. Okay. Yeah, we're going to be out there May 7th. It's our citywide cleanup day, and
Great.
Mike's setting up a little subgroup to work there. So if you're
Yeah.
interested, we'll be out there from 8 to 11.
okay.
And then there's a picnic afterwards to thank everybody for helping
Oh,
to
that's
clean up
nice.
and so forth. So
We'll let you know because that's our Hofnod. Obviously this is the busiest time, but
Yeah.
that's our Hofnod. But Rich might, if I don't know, Rich, if you're around that day, but you could always try to pop up there just to say hi. I mean, and in amongst all that, but we'll see if it's realistic. We've got a lot going. I'll be on vacation. I think Rich might even be going away, so we'll check it out though, and we'll definitely ramp up to be more available in the future.
okay, great. Thank you so much.
Can I just say, I have gone to the wildlife refuge my whole life. My parents went, my whole family goes, and we love it. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I don't know if Virginia knows Bud Wilson, but Bud is very, very well known in our area. He's older now, but I've learned a lot from Bud. He's a good friend, and he used to go to the wildlife refuge every single morning. And this is what he did for a living with his environmental work and so forth. And I wanted to say to Mike, I don't know Mike, but I want to say, have we been in touch with the Pinelands? Also,
We have.
Because-
I haven't actually heard back from the Pinelands Commission. I do have an email out there, but they haven't written back yet. But yeah,
Okay.
I am going to touch base again and let them know what's going on, because long-term, I'd like them to look at like the Landon Creek and that watershed, because there's a lot of like, swamp maple and black gum and other like plants that really probably shouldn't, trees that probably shouldn't be there. It'd be a long-term effort, it'd be nice to try to replant a lot of white cedar there. And I know Stockton does that as well. But I would definitely like them to come out and, just look at what we're trying to do and offer any assistance or advice.
And we don't want to do anything that they don't want us to do either. I've worked with engineers for years. My husband's an engineer and we know about the pinelands. So I'm saying we need to get them on our side to work with them and
I agree.
be involved. So
I am going to keep touching base. It was like a week ago or so, I sent an email. So I've only heard back from the Pinelands Commission in Stockton so far, and ACUA. So
Awesome.
Pinelands Preservation Alliance is who I've heard back from. So
awesome.
they're coming out for the cleanup, and they're going to kind of, they said they may be able to help us out with certain native vegetation replanting, along the trail. And who's the city engineer? Ryan, is that his name?
Yes, Ryan McGowan.
He thinks that overall the Pinelands Commission shouldn't have too much of a problem with what we're doing, since it's already existing trails. It's not like we're cutting new trails.
Yes.
Trails already exist. We're pretty much just going to mark them. So he thinks like we're not going to need any special permitting. But if we want to start looking at like along the rivershed, that would be a different story. So that's kind of like a later phase.
Yeah, we want them working with us.
Yeah.
Not that we do anything and then all of a sudden there's a red flag that goes up.
Totally. Yeah, that would be probably the worst thing to happen.
Thank you. That's good. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, I'll add too about Forsyth. My wife studied the Diamondback tarpon there for her PhD work out of Drexel. She was out there a lot too. I really love that refuge. We drive the loop all probably a couple times a summer.
Great. Yeah, that's the idea is, people have come out, but not everyone does or has or can. And so we're looking for more connections in the community to just we're really being encouraged to get out of our refuge boundaries and try to do more as we can. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
I think that's wonderful. I think that's wonderful. We need to grow and have other people know and be involved.
That's
absolutely. Right. We have to save the earth.
Yes, we do.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Virginia. Good.
Okay, I want to move on to our Arbor Day program, and I just want to let everybody know how the day is going to go and what we need help with. It's 3 to 5 on Friday, April 29th. The signs for we got a grant to label all the 16 different species of trees in Lincoln Park, which is the park on Route 30. And the signage will be installed Wednesday or Thursday. And I guess the City Public Works Department will be out there mowing and cleaning up the park the day before. So
put the signs up too, Nan. Who's going to put the signs up?
We got Signorama to do it.
Awesome. Okay, good. No, that's great.
Rich will be out there. He really helped us a lot, because when we told him what we wanted to do, he said, you're going to need a way to get those signs in the ground. And those are mature trees. It's going to be really difficult to get a post in the ground to put the sign on. So he figured out a way to do it. He'll pound in a piece of rebar and then mount the post on top of the rebar and the sign on top of the post.
That's wonderful.
And I think it's going to have that vinyl cover on it. So
awesome.
That white stuff. So so that'll be ready. We also got a generic sign for it's going to be located close to the monument that explains what, where we got the funding and what just tour the park and look at all the different trees and things like that. So there's a generic sign which is larger, and he'll put that up. We're going to cover that with like a piece of fabric or something, and then we'll unveil that one major sign, and the others we don't have to worry about covering up all the signs. So we'll start the program. I guess say the Pledge of Allegiance. I think there's a flagpole in the front, right? There's a flagpole at the monument, I believe.
There's one there somewhere, because we always had a flag for
ceremony. So we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then Jack Griffith, the principal over at the community schools trying to find us a 5th grader to read Joyce Kilmer's Trees poem.
Wonderful.
That'll be nice. And then we'll talk a little bit about the sign project and where we got the funding from Atlantic City Electric. And then we'll unveil that sign, and people will be able to tour the park and read all the different signs. Dick Colby. Dick Colby identified all the trees for us, and I did some research and pulled out some information about each tree. So that'll be that they'll be able to walk through the park. And then at 4 p.m. that'll start at 3 p.m. At 4 p.m., Belinda Chester from the Master Gardener Program, Rutgers Cooperative Extension, she's going to be doing a talk on native plants, and she's going to briefly talk about invasive species and how it can, could wipe out your native plants. So that'll happen. And I think she's going to talk for about 40 to 45 minutes. Throughout the whole thing, we'll have several vendors there. We have 2 vendors that will be offering native plants, and we have an organic farmer who's going to bring, like organic plants to, vegetable plants and things like that. And then we'll have a table set up for us, and another table for the garden club, because she's going to be giving away pussy willow sprouts. And we, at our table, we're going to be giving out those reusable bags that we got from the ACUA, Hazel, so we don't have to
I
go
want to
to.
do that. Yeah, I want to do that.
Okay.
Yes, please. I will.
I have some nylon fold-up bags too that we can
Okay.
give to some people. Not a lot of them. I think I have about a dozen. And I'm looking for a volunteer. Somebody small to wear the bag monster costume, which is, it's just a whole bunch of bags somebody made a costume out of. It'd be nice to have the bag monster in the park. So if I could find somebody who could fit into the costume, and they said you can borrow the costume from the ACUA, but just beware, there's a couple pins that open up. So it's like, okay.
Jack Griffith to find somebody in school. Maybe somebody will volunteer.
Yeah, well, I won't want a kid to do it, because
Okay.
they could get
Yeah,
scratched.
then we're responsible. Yeah.
You're so nuts. But if I could find one of our volunteers, that maybe I forgot to ask Jeannie, but I'll ask Jeannie if she could come over and do it.
Oh, that would be perfect.
She was the bag.
Perfect. Yes.
Well, she was the bag monster when we did the Baggett movie.
Yes. Yes.
So I have some giveaways. We have pens, bags. I have these beautiful brochures that we had made up. I don't know if you could see them. Their color, and they have all the different trees in here. So the information that's on the sign is in this booklet. And Dick Colby informs me, Nanette, did you know that the Latin name of trees is always italicized? And I was like, no, I didn't know that. So I took all the italics out of the brochure, and then I learned out I made a mistake. Oh, what are you going to do?
You have to remember, he is Dr. Dick.
I know.
Yes.
So we'll take some signups for volunteers, and I really want to promote the tree program. We'll have the sign up sheet for selecting a tree for your right away there, and the pledge.
Right on the table with me, and I'll work on that. I'll be good.
Yeah, we need to really talk to people about that, because
Absolutely.
so far we're not doing too good with that. I'm very disappointed in the response. I don't
Hey,
know.
I know how to work it, girl. I'll work it.
I don't know what the problem is, but well, that's kind of skipping around a little bit to item number 6, but we got 7 responses from all those letters we sent out, Hazel. And it's 14 total trees. Some people want 2 trees, but only on Chicago Avenue and on London Avenue. They're the only two streets that we heard from. So I don't know what the situation is. If the letters are going to the tenants, if they're rented out, or if they're going somewhere. I don't know. I didn't see I didn't see the addresses. So I don't know if you recall seeing where the letters were going. Do you
Yeah,
remember?
they went to everybody. But I think when they see trees being planted, I think people will respond. So it may take longer to get this done.
Well, no, they can't. We gotta
No, I know,
know.
I'm not on a program. I know.
We gotta know. We gotta order the trees. They gotta be, dug out of the ground.
You know what my thought was? If we knew someone that wrote for the paper, maybe we could put an article in the paper.
Well, it was in the
I'm
paper.
Really, I know. But
It
we need to
was.
inform people and let people know this.
page.
Because no. I just think people want their trees back. They didn't want their trees cut down.
Yeah, but why don't they respond to that letter?
I know. I don't know. They
So
went
I'm
to
really disappointed,
Address-
but if we can hold off this state, see, we are required to submit before we move forward within 6 months of getting the award of the grant, which was more than 6 months ago. I think it was like 7 months ago that we got the grant. Within 6 months, you're supposed to present them with a planting plan that's going to be prepared by the landscape architect at
Yes.
Remington and Vernick. She did that last time. And in this plan, you have to have all the locations, like the GPS locations of where the trees are going to be and all that. And how
Yes.
many trees in the process for ordering them and all that stuff. And so that should be submitted now. They said you could take take another month if you need so. We extended it a month, but now we're still not getting responses. And I'm wondering if they're not on our back to get it done and get it to them right away, we have a little bit more time to solicit the community for tree plantings. If not, we'll just plant what we got, and the rest of the money will just have to be sent back. And and when they see the trees go up in the fall, then everybody's going to want them.
That's
And
what I
it's-
just said. That's
it's
exactly
too
right. That's
late.
what's gonna happen. It's too late.
Yeah.
But at least then people will know that if they want, they can plant a tree. We
Right.
need to let people know they can plant a tree.
And so, and then we were, we wound up with 2 signs for trees that weren't there. And one of them was a sugar maple, which I don't think there is a sugar maple in the park.
There is not. No.
We won't know that until the fall, because there's a lot of maple trees in there. And river birch. And the river birch was actually one of the trees that it fell over. And when I was in the park cleaning up one day, I pulled the rest of the tree and put it on the curb. So I think that was the river birch that we lost it. In other words, since November, that tree came down. It was small though. And I went to Walmart a couple weeks ago, and they had beautiful trees, all natives. And I was shocked because last year they had all different trees. They didn't have native trees. So I got a river birch for like $20.
Awesome. That's beautiful.
Yeah, a free clump. It's perfect. I have it in the yard. It's not real big. It's not as big as the trees that the company will plant in the fall. But I mean, I wanted to hold off doing a tree planting on Arbor Day because of the drought. And if we plant a tree now, somebody's going to have to go to the park and water it all summer long. So I was like, let me just hold on to this tree and then we can plant it in the fall, when we only have to, water it for a couple of weeks and it'll go dormant. So we'll play that by ear. Now I hear the drought is over. So, we might have a real wet summer, which would suck. But
Wouldn't it be cool though if we could plant some sugar maples in there and Stockton could come and get the syrup? That'd be cool.
We're getting, yeah, exactly. We're getting the sign made. I told them to still make the sign, even though we couldn't find the sugar maple, because eventually we'll get one in there and then we could just direct the sign. We'll have it. So but I need help moving stuff over to the park, the tables. I'm working with Kim Hesse, and she wants to do the program part of the, Belinda Chester's part of the program on the gazebo. She wants her on the gazebo, looking into the park. So we're going to need help. She's got a truck. She said she'll come and help me move the tables, and I have about a dozen chairs, white chairs, that we could set up. She thought that people would sit on the benches that are around the monument. And we need to move the PA system from City Hall. Are you going to get that, Hazel, the PA, or is?
I don't know if I'm allowed
I
to do
think
that
she's-
anymore because since I'm not on council, I can't just go get it.
Yeah,
It's in
I
the room where the
think
copy machine is.
She's getting
Maybe
it.
Jody could get it ready for us and I could just pick it up.
Yeah, because I hope it works.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I know it's been a while since
Been
I
a
set it
while.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a couple years since we used it, right?
yeah.
So everything was canceled because of COVID, so it wasn't used for any of the events that we normally have.
Is Jody here tonight in our meeting?
I don't see her. No.
Okay. All right. Call Jody
So-
tomorrow and ask her if she could get it ready. If I could just pick it up on Friday afternoon at what, 2
So
o'clock?
we're gonna start at 1 o'clock.
Okay, 1 o'clock. So
Um,
I'll
the
call
vendors
Jody
are coming
tomorrow
at
too.
2. So, and I have a banner that I would like to, put the banner around the gazebo.
Yes.
So that's
I'll
actually.
help you. Yeah, I'll help you do all that. That's okay. No
right.
problem.
So we'll be set up, and if anybody wants to help out, please come that afternoon and we'll put you to work. We'll find something for you to do. I'm sure we'll be really busy.
I
Uh,
hope so. I hope so, so much.
So the next thing on the agenda is the community cleanup, Saturday, May 4th. We're gonna be working with Mike and possibly Clark's Landing if somebody wants to go out there.
I
and-
do.
Well, would you go to Clark's Landing for us?
Yeah, is Steve, are you going to be there?
I will be away that weekend. I'm so sorry. I would love to be out there with you. It's been pretty good out there with the help of ACUA, so I hope
Changed, I
that
know.
the cans can be there, and if they're empty, then they can just fill them up out there. But we'll be in Massachusetts that weekend.
Oh, okay. Well,
Grant's
Nan,
on
we'll talk
time.
about this Friday. We'll talk about it Friday. And see
Mark,
what's.
Mike, did you have anything else to add about the cleanup that day? No, he left. Did he leave? He just left. All right, so, well, we'll join Mike at 8 o'clock. I have the wrong date on there. It's the 7th. I'm writing the 4th everywhere. And okay, there is a grant opportunity coming up that, and I wanted Mike to hear this. We talked about it briefly through email. The grant that is paying for the signage in the park, it's funded through the Atlantic City Electric, and they have grants available for sustainability and something else. I forget. Anyway, we will be eligible because our sign project will be closed out. We will be eligible to apply for another grant from Atlantic City Electric, and the deadline is June. I think like middle of the month to apply. So I was thinking we can apply for another $5,000 to help Mike get what he needs to do the work out at the lake.
Wonderful.
To pay for the signage that he needs, or if he needs any equipment, or I don't know, whatever he thinks he would need to do that. Maybe we can get some brochures made. We have the Colby's brochure that outline all the trails. So I just want to let everybody know that we're going to apply for another grant. And I think we should use it for that project, if everybody agrees. So our grant applications that are pending, that he applied for, and we haven't heard yet, is the Engaging EHC grant for $10,000. That's through PSE&G through Sustainable Jersey. And that was to improve the equipment and the microphones, things like that at City Hall, so that more people can participate in the meetings online through Zoom and all that stuff. So hopefully we'll hear from them soon. And we also applied for a $25,000 grant through Sustainable Jersey called the Community Energy Planning Grant. And that pretty much would, well, the majority of the grant would be turned over to the engineers to do a study of things that we could do in Egg Harbor City to become more energy efficient. There's also a third, there's tons of money out there right now for charging stations. And I just got a notification yesterday that they have 100% funding up to $150,000 to install fast chargers. And I was hoping the city would jump on that and apply for a charging station for Philadelphia Avenue, where it would have 2 outlets, 2 cars could be parked there, and they charge the electric vehicles in like 20 minutes. So it's like, let's go eat and we'll charge our car. You pay, you would have to pay. You use a credit card to pay for the charge. So it wouldn't cost the city any money to maintain the system. You know, somebody else would be paying for the electricity to charge their cars. So that funding is available too. So there's funding for forest planting, like Mike was talking about. There's places out at the lake that need to be revegetated, I guess. There's funding for that. There's a lot of money coming out of the state right now. And I'm sure it has to do with the American Rescue Plan and all that, where a lot of money was sent to the state, and now they're trying to do all these things. So there's a lot going on. I would apply for all of them. You know, me, it's like, if you don't ask, you're not going to get it. So
Yes.
I'd rather get a no than not have the opportunity to even apply
job.
for it. So
I'm back on too. Sorry, my whole internet
oh,
went
I
out.
was going to ask you if you had anything else to add about the lake cleanup. And I had just mentioned the $5,000 grant to help you with signage or whatever else you think you would need.
Yeah, I think I was talking to the public, Keith Adams, quite a bit about signage and also some fencing. His concern was that he was afraid people were just going to either knock the signs off or steal the signs, steal the fencing. He had a little bit of concern about vandalism. I guess I do as well. So I think like for the first go of signage would just be like some general, like no ATV signs, like just maybe some little markers here and there. And then if maybe this summer, if no one really messes with it, we could, like you said, with the $5,000 or whatever we apply for, like get like the bigger things you see at park entrances with like a map, different like points you're going to see on the trail, you know, just those big entrance kind of signage that are almost like, you know, they have like wooden covers almost, and then you could put some signs on the trail itself that could maybe be some higher quality. So I think for the first go, I guess the fear that I have is just the people who are using it for ATV usage may decide to vandalize what we do on this first go. You know, I don't know what anyone else has any thoughts on that, but it is a concern of mine.
Well,
But-
we could get cameras out there. I don't know if there's internet service near the lake, but they have those.
Not really. That's not very good. It does. There is Comcast internet that goes up to the campground, but I don't think they have a connection into the campground, and cell service is pretty bad. But you could get cameras that just record it on a card and then just check it. Obviously, you run the risk of someone stealing the camera too, but you know, it may just be a fear we have, and nothing ever happens. It may just, you know,
Well,
people
you know,
learn and
It's
respect
gonna
it.
happen. I mean, look at a lot of the areas out there were trashed by kids and stuff. And that's what I wanted to put in the press release that I wrote, is like any kid who's was ever out there who who left their beer bottles behind is invited to come and clean them up.
There's a lot of party trash for sure. So for the cleanup, I've also talked with Rebecca from ACUA. She said that ACUA could send a truck out if needed. It doesn't need to be on the 7th. She said that for us, we could do either one or two things, either leave all the big stuff and they would get it like on their time. I've given them the GPS locations of all the stuff that's pretty large. But what I'm thinking, I've talked with Keith about this too, is I'm thinking we just, I think like Jason Howell's going to be there and a couple other people that would be willing to drag the big stuff out with me on the 7th, and we can bring it to, I guess, where the trail and Liebig streets meet and just pile it all up there. And then maybe Keith's truck could get it. So I'm going to give him a call probably before this week's over and see if, he can commit to bringing a truck out. I think the hardest thing to clean up is actually going to be is two spots. There's one is like the burn pile, I guess you call it, and the people who are partying, there's like a big pile of debris that's probably like 4 foot tall, and like it's like a mound pretty much, where you may need a backhoe to clean it. And then the other spot that will be tricky is where it's all this concrete rubble that was dumped. So it's just like, imagine like a bunch of cinder blocks busted up, spread across like 50 foot or so. And, it would be pretty hard to like move that to this central pile. So if we get a pickup truck or something and just throw it all in the back, that would probably be the easiest. And all the other big items like the farm spool, the car door, the mattress, and the bed frames, and all the other biggish items, we're planning to just pile it up right kind of where the compost pile's at. And then hopefully they can get removed there. And the other part of the cleanup is Ryan from the Pinelands Preservation Alliance. She'll be there. And she wants to walk the whole trail system and kind of have me point out like what we're thinking of for as our attractions on the trail. And I want to show her some of the spots where I think we can do some regenerative planting. And then she's going to kind of give her advice, and we'll go from there.
Cool.
So that's pretty much it. That's all I have right now.
Well, just so you know, the ACUA usually is out at the pavilion. Their truck is usually at the pavilion.
Okay.
Because people bring bags of trash to the picnic and they just throw them in the truck.
Maybe they could just swing over on the Liebig Street and we can just all throw it in. It's really, I was there a week or two ago walking through, and it's really not that much. I don't think it's going to take too much of an effort to clean this whole section. So it's just a couple problematic spots that probably going to require some professional assistance.
Okay, cool. Great.
I'll just offer a word of encouragement about dealing with areas that people love to death. We have the same issue on the Refuge, and it's just a matter of paying attention and showing you care. So you're exactly right, Mike. That first round of signs, don't put out a $2,500 sign.
No.
Yeah.
Put out something that says, hey, we're paying attention. This is an important area. We care about it. Do some press around it. Obviously, you will with the cleanup. And just keep doing that for a while and get people out there. And then once there's traction and people are hiking it regularly, that's going to go away.
I think so too. And I did mention that some of the other previous calls we've had about it is that I think that it's local residents who are using this right now, and they just kind of see it as just abandoned woods that no one really cares about. I don't think it's the people who are driving their stuff in and parking at the lake. Those people go way deeper into the woods and kind of stay away. So if you look at the actual trails, the way they're like they tie into the roads, anyone who's riding their ATV out of Egg Harbor City, like either in the North Development or wherever, it's going to use these trails to get to where they're going. So we can just direct them all onto Liebig Street and not like the actual trail network itself. I think that will go a long way. So I think the trickiest part is going to be the dunes. I was talking with Mark Dimitrov, and maybe it's pronounced, from Stockton. And he thinks that he thinks that those where they cut for the old dam, he thinks they're paleo dunes. So the ATV people are just going up and down and ripping them up. So if we could somehow like restore that root layer and put some fencing around it, it will be a really pretty feature to walk and explore. So it looks kind of ugly when you look at it right now. It just looks like so eroded, but I can kind of just envision it long term with a lot of replanting, and it would look really pretty. There's some more pristine dune fields on the west side of the lake if you walk on Indian Cabin Trail a bit, and those dunes really haven't been disturbed too much, and it's a really pretty site, especially in winter.
Cool. All right. What else do I have here?
Mike, I just had just one thing, Mike. I had two things. Rebecca will go to the mat with you as far as getting a backhoe out there and cleaning up that burn pile. We had
Okay.
the biggest mound that was all calcified out at Clark's Landing for decades. And they brought a crew and a dump truck and a backhoe, cleaned that puppy up, took 2 boats out of there, and we're over 40 tons of stuff out of there now. So
That's awesome. That's incredible. I
Yeah.
love that spot too. You know, it does seem like people just continually bring stuff, but that's the seems that everyone in Jersey is dealing with that now. And even
ACUA is
outside of
also,
Jersey.
they will help you out a lot out there. Okay.
Yeah, that's what Rebecca said. She said she had a couple other things going on right now, so
Yeah.
they couldn't dedicate a truck like for the 7th, but she was like, "We'll get whatever you can't," pretty much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of strategy we'll take now is just get it cleaned up, you know, some basic signage, and hopefully we won't get any new dumps. And once the big stuff's out of there, it's going to be pretty back there. Kind of
Good.
already is. It's just, you know, trash here and there.
Well, thanks so much for doing this because, you know,
I just have to like say my thing too. As Mike, this is awesome that you're here. We have to start somewhere. So you start and then eventually it will grow. People will know they can't do these things anymore. I do think the city should help us also a little bit because I think the city actually over the years has dumped stuff out there too by the lake.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, they do use the compost pile, you know, even the compost pile is really interesting. You know, I think that's a pretty old compost pile, some of that. I think the city's been using that for a long time, and that even kind of has some historical significance, you know? Not
We
many,
need to go through it, right? And see what we can find. Maybe we'll find
Yeah,
some
I mean,
treasures in there.
even not looking through, but just even marking it, saying, you know, this compost has been in use for, you know, 75, 100 years, something like that, maybe even longer in some spots. It's really hard to know for sure, but it seems like there is some history behind that compost pile. The city so far, I will say, has been very supportive of, you know, when I've gone to the meetings and proposed this, they've been very helpful saying, tell us what you need. They kind of like I don't think they kind of thought of this section of the park as being something that could be an attraction to the lake. I think they're now kind of seeing that a little bit. So I think that's pretty cool, just to envision a different path for the woods around the lake. I mean, I kind of can see way long term. I mean, I've already mapped it. I have my own little Google map thing going on. It's like 60 miles of trails, and there's probably more that I haven't even mapped yet. They go all over the place, and a lot of it's just Egg Harbor City land. That's just like part of the old, you know, parcels where they think it was all going to be a row house community. And I know that the Irvin Haven like already has a lot of this deed restricted, but
Yes.
there's other areas on the west side too of Philadelphia Ave that have a lot of value as well. So I kind of like in my head long term, it'd be really great to just see, you know, we have this huge map trail network that people could come and visit. You go to any of the trail spots around Batstow or in Atlantic County and Burlington County, you go to any of the major trail spots and the parking lots are packed all summer long. You know, people are looking for new areas because so many of Jersey's spots now are just overflowing with the parking lots can't even handle it. So I feel like this area around the lake, especially going all the way up to the Moloka, is people aren't even aware of this trail network. They're not even aware that it's there. And if they are aware, they're scared of it because you can get lost back there pretty easily. And it's a big expanse of woods. So I think people are just turned away from it. So if you can change that mentality up, you know, people may drive to Batstow and say, hey, this Tom's Pond is packed. Screw this. Let's go to Egg Harbor City, park at the lake and hike to the Moloka. And then when they're done, they drive into town for dinner. So many people in Batstow are just driving to Hamilton, you know, and there's a real good podcast that was put out recently by the PPA that talks about the revitalization. And so many, if you go to, I mean, I don't really have any data to support this, but I'm willing to bet if you were walking down the Hamilton Strip and started asking people on a summer Saturday where they're coming from, you'd have a lot of people who said we're coming from a hike. And maybe Egg Harbor City can capitalize that a little bit. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping the trail network's a good start for that.
yeah, we need more recreation.
Sorry, I kind of rambled there, which I'll do. So I'll shut up now.
Mike, no, I ramble too, and I love what you have to say. I love that you're here. I want to meet you in person and I talk to you. I've been here my whole life. I've
I
lived
think we did.
Pine Barrens and everything. So this is awesome.
I think we did. We did briefly meet at the Historical Museum. I came in there 2 or 3
yeah,
times
sure.
so far. And
I
I
have-
brought my kids in that one time, you know, if
Yes,
you remember.
of course. And let me say this too. Now, I grew up with Barbara Sheridan. Is she your relative of yours?
It's possible. Who knows with Sheridans, they were Irish, so they're all over. Like, you know, we
Okay.
have a place in Fishtown, Philadelphia, and there's like, I'm not even joking, there's like 50 Michael Sheridans just in this neighborhood.
Okay,
You know?
cool. I'm just
So it's
curious.
really hard to say. It's possible, you know,
I know.
there's in the 1850s though, that's when a lot of Sheridans came over, and it was like in the thousands basically. So now
Awesome.
they're all over. So
Well, we're so happy we have you here, that you're here and you're really willing to help and help.
no, we love it. I
it's
mean, pretty much it's my backyard. You know, we're on the other side of the lake, so we use those
Absolutely.
trails all the time. And
Yes.
just like this, the city's missing out. You know, there's economic value in a good
Yeah.
trail system. People don't really
That's
see it that way, but
That's
you
how
know,
I grew up. I grew up in the woods here, and we always were out in the woods and doing all these things. And you get it, you see it. So many young people don't understand that anymore. But I thank you. We'll be in touch. I'll see
all
you.
right, yeah. Thanks.
All right, we talked about our fall tree planting, so we don't have to rehash that, but I'm not sure if we'll have a May 24th meeting. At this point, I would say yes, but it depends on my work schedule. We will not meet in June, July, or August because I just don't have the time. If somebody else wants to conduct a meeting and run a meeting, that'd be great. We might need to do some updates if we get those grants and so forth. It's not like we won't be working. We just, it's kind of a lot to prepare for the meetings and create an agenda. So.
And we could meet at Crossroads and talk it over.
Well, that's the other thing. It's, there's an MPP meeting tonight. Started at 6:30 at Crossroads. So
I know.
I was invited. I wanted to get over there.
Yeah.
So I was hoping that we could close the meeting early. Does anybody have anything else to offer? Steve, I know you said you wanted to talk about something.
No, I sent that note to you about tree seedlings, that if anybody gets or gives out tree seedlings, they need to be protected, because I think about 25% survive because of deer and rabbits and groundhogs and dogs and such. So that's why I sent a picture, if you want to send that around to your folks. I just went out in the garage, grabbed some hardware cloth and some chicken wire, and made a couple
Like a little-
cylinders, just
Yeah.
something to protect the seedlings, because otherwise they get nibbled down. And you ask the people about it next year, they say, I don't know what happened to those.
Well, somebody renewed their subscription to the Arbor Day Foundation, and they gave me the 10 free trees, which I planted. They're in my yard, and I did that once before, and I have a gorgeous cherry tree and a pin oak. There's 3 what do you call it? It's the red buds out there. There's, I think, a couple sugar maples that I planted. So, you know, we might be able to use them like next year. So I'm just going to leave in the yard, and the other ones took really well. So hopefully all 10 of the new trees will take for next year. And Hamilton is doing something interesting with trees. They're setting aside a section of their public works site where they're taking these saplings and they're planting them in little pots, and they're going to reforest in a couple of years. Or if anybody wants a tree, they can just go over and get them. So I thought that was a good idea. So that's kind of what's happening at the back of my property here. So maybe we'll have some nice trees next year or the year after that to plant. So does anybody have anything else to offer? If not, I'm going to sign off.
I just want to say to Steve, I want to talk to you because you're working on the other side of Mullica now. So I want to talk to you about some people over there that I want to hook you up with.
Yeah, we'll be at Stafford Township, their first Green Festival on Friday. So I'll miss your Arbor Day, but in Manahawkin with Matt Vonderhayden and Barbara Reynolds and the gang up there. So
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
Good.
all right, talk to you
Just
soon.
give me a call. Just give me a call because I want to hook you up with people on the other side of the Mullica.
Very good. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Good.
All right.
Thanks
All
all.
right. Thanks,
See you,
everybody.
everybody.
I will be there on Friday. I'm just going to be taking the train out of Philly, so I just have to check the scheduling. So I'll
All
just
right.
walk over with some-
Great.
Dan, I'll come to your house at 1 o'clock on Friday.
Okay, we'll see you
All
then.
right. Good. All right, good.
Thanks, Virginia and
Bye,
Rich.
y'all. Have a
Take
good
care.
night.
Thank you. That was beautiful, Virginia. Thank you. Oh my God. I don't think there was anybody at that meeting except me and Nanette. Steve Keeler was there. And Mike Sheridan, who was the kid that really doing a lot out by the lake, having that and stuff. But I'm gonna meet her 1 o'clock. But I said my thing tonight. That was good. That Dennis tried to call me while I was in the meeting, and I couldn't answer it. I cut him off, and I just told him. His wife's sister's husband is dying. He's been dying. They were supposed to see him 2 weeks ago, and he didn't want to see anybody. Her sister just called and said he wants to see them. And I think for Dennis and Carmen, it's important to see him before he dies. So he wanted to see you. So they're going Saturday. So this is hysterical. He will meet you about 9:15 on Sunday morning before church to go out and look at those lights. And I said, good, because I said to him, I'm going to take you in and have you meet Hunter, because Hunter really would like to meet you, because, okay, I'm going to meet Hunter. He said, so we'll go early. We'll go to church at 9 o'clock, okay, instead of 10. I got it. How was the meet? Was it all right? I'm hungry. Yeah. Gary, he was good all day. He was so good all day. Let me see what this, Carmen's sister's in Brooklyn says that we can go to see her husband on Saturday. Please tell Gary that if I can meet him on Sunday before the service. Yeah. Gary, this is the thing. Nanette, honestly, if we still could do the Kiwanis Citizen of the Year, she deserves it. She works at this shit all the time, and she has a full-time job, and it's whatever. And if she doesn't work, she has nothing, because her husband left her and everything. He's the asshole that painted my coat in the hallway and everything. That kid out, but that there's young people. Yeah, they want to come in. Little girl ate stomach. Here. It's right up against the girl. This is the house. And I told believe it's like today it's like, oh my God. So you want to show me the book? Gary, how we're connected with and What about our family? And, we just want to welcome. Good. Very good old thing. Hi. He lays right here in the kitchen all day. Oh, that's good, right, honey? Yeah. Good for you, Harry, I think one day he was not like that. Yeah. My good next boy.
Okay.
that your wife? Yeah, I realize that. I thought the rain was starting to fall.
It's
In here.
field plan where I'm in it, like you momentarily you'll see the woman pull up in front of, and she will get out of the vehicle. She takes damage on her vehicle, and she really doesn't acknowledge any damage on my car or just care. In a few seconds, she'll see it and I'm on the phone, and she yells at me who I'm on the phone with, and I told her to on the police, and he screamed at me. He said, "I'm not taking her around to the police." And she gets her car, drives off, where you see in a second where she almost hit 3 other vehicles. After I lost her on the interstate, I ended up getting a lot of highway patrol close by the convenience store where they did the police report. The back of my trunk was completely smashed in. On the way home, my truck flew open on me, and I ended up having to pull over and duct tape the back of my car. But right now, my car's sitting at a local shop for getting work on.
Only 2 more days too, and Doug and Ginny will be home too, so that'll be done. If on the news. I sprayed this all up here today, but I want to scrub it because it's all kept.
I need to put some cleaner.
I cleaned that cover on that heater. That was all, and I need to spray down it. any idea how many times I cleaned this bathroom yesterday and today. So everything down with the, on my hands and knees, the floor, everything. Oh, dirty again already.
Oh, yeah.
And I did that at 4 o'clock the last time. And walked right away. On Saturday, the trains, those kids are waiting for you to come see their train at the 4-H Center. I don't care if we go there or not, but the Cologne Fire Company is having their yard sale, which you bought things there before.
Yep.
And Rory has her yard sale up at her business, so I want to go up there.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you can work outside Sunday, or whatever you want to do. So meet Dennis in the morning. And
Mailbox is fixed, so.
oh, is it? Excellent. Good. Maybe we'll get nails.
Yeah, she, a little bitch, she could have come here and delivered the mail today. She could have pulled in the driveway. Why I don't give letter carriers anything.
They used to be.
Nope.
Used to be people you knew and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. It was good. Don't eat those rolls though, they're moldy.
They are?
Yep,
Why?
I found out the hard way.
Why?
Somebody take a look at that bag. Well, look at the inside, they're moldy. It tasted too.
It seems like the focus, these are focus with someone on the second. What's going on? So, I look at this stuff. The points, examples, you feel back, it's 2 strikes. It's a 2 strikes. Both of them. Well, third, it could be a bigger shot. Put it it's all everything. Yeah. Text takes 03 to what comes after stop Birch. Stop. The roads on Circuit Third. That's a tough look away from CJ throwing that flip. Trying to turn two. He's right there. After a similar ball to that, he could get a good line. Back there.
Just play better.
was over yesterday. He shot and killed Twinsburg police officer Josh Mitchell, and now he will die for his crime. That is the sentence today delivered to 25-year-old Ashford Thompson. The shot five John Cossack was there. As McTerring's woman spoke following the sentence.